I'd like to start this review off by addressing the positives about Beetlejuice. First of all, it looks like this movie was made almost a year after the original. It has not been remotely updated at all, which I really love. The practical effects are still there. It looks like a very visually good looking movie. I like the original, the way it looked, the style of it, the feel of it. It captures that perfectly. Not a lot of movies, especially sequels and spin-offs and whatnots today, it still holds up very well. Second compliment of this movie, Michael Keaton knocked it out of the park. I thought his first rendition of Beetlejuice was really good. This one, not a single solitary complaint about it at all. Still holds up. Honestly, if he wanted to do Beetlejuice for the rest of his career, go for it at this point. Unfortunately, that's where the compliments stop with this movie. So let me do a quick run through of the plot and the characters and see what you guys think about that. The movie takes place 36 years after the events of the first movie, and Lydia is hosting her own supernatural talk show with her boyfriend Rory. Rory is the worst character in this movie. He is the insufferable Aquafina type character that every second he's on screen it makes me wonder, why are you here? There is nothing good about his comedy. He's just one of those characters that you just want him to go away. There is nothing good about this character. He was poorly written, poorly acted, and it just makes you wonder, why even bother at this point? I really don't remember in the first movie a lot of characters like Rory where it's just, okay, go away. But this one, ugh. And as Lydia is filming these episodes, she starts seeing Ghost of Beetlejuice in the audience and starts having a bit of a freak out about it. She then gets a phone call from her stepmother Delia, informing her that her father is dead. Now, they could not get the same actor that played Charles in the original, I'm assuming, so they did a very cool claymation type of scene with him on a plane, crashing into the ocean and getting eaten by a shark. It kind of worked. I'm okay with them doing it this way, but later on they explain why Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis aren't in it. They just say a loophole, and that's just lazy writing. Completely retconned so much of this movie, makes no sense whatsoever. I'll get to that a little bit later. And on the way to the funeral, they have to pick up Lydia's daughter, Astrid. Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, is a climate activist. You know this by all the climate posters on her wall and the picture of her and her father at a rally with the word change in the background. They have a lot of long shots of her at her desk with all these climate posters in the background, but they completely squash this character development when she's talking about climate stuff, and Delia says, well, you can get rid of your inheritance and be a penniless tree hugger if you want, and then right then and there, it's all over with climate stuff. Kind of makes you wonder why they even bothered putting this character development in there. Couldn't you have just had her be a weird goth girl and that's it? You couldn't just go in that direction where, oh, she's just different. That's why she's getting bullied by the popular pretty girls at school just because they don't like her because she's different. It's like, oh, they don't like you because you're a climate activist. I can see why you're not popular with people. Astrid hates her mother. They haven't talked in years. Their father died in some excursion in South America. They really don't go much into it. Also, Astrid doesn't believe Lydia has any connection to the other side whatsoever. And even odder, Lydia can't contact this man for some reason on the other side. She kind of just explains as, oh, it comes and goes, I can't control it. So as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, is he actually dead? Did he maybe fake his death, or he's just presumed dead and he's still living in the Amazon, maybe captured by natives or something like that? No, he's dead. They just, for some odd reason, don't have an explanation of why she can't talk to this guy on the other side. And like I said before, Astrid does not believe in Lydia's gifts at all. She thinks she's just faking it for TV, and they haven't spoken in years because of this. Then we get to the funeral where Rory decides, I'm gonna propose to Lydia. In, of course, the most cringy and annoying way possible. Every joke with Rory falls 100% flat. And for most of this movie, I think he was trying to bang Astrid. Because he keeps trying to be so friendly and chummy with her. and I never really understood why he was doing that. It's not really even revealed later on of why. It's not part of some master plan or something. He's just trying to be overtly nice to her and welcoming to her. I don't really understand. It wasn't even like, hey, I want to marry your mother, so I have to get in good with the daughter or something like that to try to maybe convince her that I'm a good enough match for her. It's just, hey, pop culture references here and there. Let's be best friends. I don't know. Weird direction. Have no idea why they went with that. And as all this stuff is going on, we meet the main villain of this movie, Dolores. Who, honestly, you could have probably replaced her with, I don't know, any other idea and it would have worked better. Dolores is Beetlejuice's ex-wife. They married. She's part of a soul-sucking cult or something like that, and he murdered her. Now she reassembled her body parts and has one thing in mind. I'm going to get revenge on this man. Takes forever. She is... I don't know what the hell... like I said, it's a character that they wrote into this that doesn't really do much for most of this movie. Like I said before, she's a soul sucker. She just starts kind of killing people for some odd reason. She kills Danny DeVito as a janitor. He was actually looked really good in this. I don't know why he died so fast, but she sucks his soul out. And I'm thinking, what does she gain from sucking the souls? Does it make her more powerful? Does she get information out of them? Doesn't explain it all. She just simply sucks souls and that's it. Later on, she goes to an underworld laundromat and sucks the soul of the guy that owns it, and then puts on a wedding dress. Like, why did you kill this man? Why particularly this man? And what did you gain from this? There isn't really anyone that can stop her, so what's the point? It does feel like she is a character that they wrote down and then kind of forgot to add any development whatsoever. So it does make me wonder, are there other drafts where she is the big bad for a reason? Is she more developed? But falls 100% flat, takes me completely out of it. And then as Astrid's doing her usual, oh, I hate my mother, I'm just gonna run away from home and bullcrap like that, she meets Jeremy, a boy who she crashes through his fence and he's reading some weird murder mystery books in a treehouse, and they start having some chemistry. Later on, you find out that Jeremy is a ghost, and he murdered his parents in his house, and his parents' souls, for some reason, are still in the house. I don't really understand that part, though. Because other people in this, when you die, you go straight to the underworld. Yet they died, and they're stuck in this house still? I know in the original people died and were stuck in the house, but why do the rules kind of work for thee, but not for other thees? So as Jeremy puts the moves on Astrid, he then tells her, hey, I need your help. I need you to help me get my soul back. So we need to go to the underworld together, and then I can get my soul back and we can be together forever. So, of course, Astrid agrees to this very quickly. They open up a quick chalk door outline to the underworld, and then he trades souls with Astrid. Just a little, bureaucratic paper signing and taking a picture. And then he's like, yeah, you kind of feel weird because now I have your soul and you're stuck in the underworld and I go back to the mortal world and live a normal life. So Lydia catches wind of this plan, and she's like, oh my god, I have to go to the underworld, I have to save my daughter's soul. Who can I call? I guess I'll call Beetlejuice. And Beetlejuice is okay with helping her because he says, okay, here's the deal. I'll help you, but you have to marry me, and by marrying me, I get to stay in the mortal world, and my vengeful ex-wife won't be able to get me. Okay, it's... Again, very loose plot here. Very, very loose plot, but Michael Keaton knocks it out of the park. He is the absolute 100% only good thing with this movie. Only good character in this movie is Michael Keaton playing Beetlejuice. So then Beetlejuice and Lydia enter the underworld, and they have to go to the Soul Train to stop Astrid from boarding it. And they just kind of quickly get her out of the train, and she's not going off to the afterlife. And they have to quickly run upstairs to stop Jeremy from signing the paperwork to allow him to be mortal again. But it's okay because Beetlejuice is the teller at the window that Jeremy's signing away his paperwork. And he presses the button and he sends Jeremy to hell. And that allows Astrid to have her soul back. It's not explained. I'm telling you this exactly how it happened. They run upstairs. Jeremy's signing the paperwork. He's like, "Oh, hi. I've won." And then Beetlejuice is behind the counter, makes a few little quibs, press the button. Jeremy goes to hell, and they don't speak of it again. That's them transferring the soul back, people. That's how they wrote this in the movie. Have no idea what they were thinking with it. As this is going on, Dolores is going through her vengeful quest of trying to get Beetlejuice. She goes and kills a shrinkhead named Bob, who was in all the promotional things about this movie. Cinépolis is selling a Bob cup and things like that for an exorbitant amount of money for some odd reason. And then he dies. He gets his soul sucked out. And no one really cares about it. Yes, I understand Bob is just a random underling, but can we get some kind of an impact here? Can Beetlejuice maybe care for a single solitary second? They don't even remotely bring it up. And she kills him, and she gets no information out of it. Again, it's not like Dolores is sucking the souls out and getting something from it. It's not like she's becoming more powerful. It's not like, oh, every time she sucks a soul, because she had to staple herself back together. So it's not like she sucks the souls, and it's like the dude from The Mummy, where he becomes less of a mummy. And he becomes more powerful, and he gets his skin back and everything like that, and he's stronger. None of that whatsoever. It's a poor version of The Mummy. It makes no sense whatsoever. So then they break out of the underworld very easily. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot something. They find Lydia's dead husband. He's one of the tellers, and he's like, oh my god, that's my wife and daughter. So he goes to run to help them. They go through a door and fall into one of Saturn's moons with the sandworms. I don't know. Was it established in the first one? Because I remember there were sandworms. Did they establish that was one of Saturn's moons? I don't remember, but doesn't matter. He saves them. He opens up another door, and there really isn't much of a emotional moment. He kind of explains that he's always watching them, but why can't Lydia see him? They never really explain any of that at all. He's just in it for like 5 minutes, and that's it. So then they break out of the underworld. They end up at a cemetery, but don't worry, it's right next to the church where Lydia and Rory are getting married. Rory's already at there. Tons of Facebook, Instagram influencers there. Just the pop culture reference. I don't care. I don't care for any of the pop culture references at all at this point. And as they're going to the church, oh, I forgot this other useless fact right here. Delia died, the stepmother. She's some kind of weird art influencer who decided, I'm going to do a online video, a ritual with my dead husband's grave where I have some snakes that were defanged. So it's okay, they're not going to bite or kill me at all. And then they just instantly bite and kill her, and she ends up in the underworld. So it kind of makes me wonder how the rules of this work. Look at Jeremy's situation, killed his family, and the police were trying to get him, and then he falls and breaks his neck and dies, and he's stuck in the house. Meanwhile, Delia dies, snake bite, instantly in the underworld. So a lot of flip-flopping here for plot's sake. It's really, really oddly done that so many people return back. Tim Burton's still back for this, and Tim, you were okay with all this stuff? Did you just see the dollar signs and say, you know what, screw it, we'll just go with it? Oh, but again, I'm so sorry. I forgot another useless character in this movie. Willem Dafoe, playing Wolf Jackson, a former actor that took a grenade to the face and now he's an underworld detective. Willem plays this very well. He was actually probably my second favorite character next to Michael Keaton, but utterly useless character. He's been trying to hunt down Beetlejuice and Dolores, and he's like, well, we have some mortal people in the underworld. We have to take care of this. So where were we? Oh, yes, back to the wedding for some odd reason. Beetlejuice and Delia are now working together to hijack the wedding, and they inject Rory with a truth serum. And he reveals to Lydia that he's only marrying her for the money. And he never believed she had any gifts at all. And after her husband died, she went to some kind of griefing retreat. And he's told her that, oh, I lost my wife in an accident, but he never had a wife. He was just trying to pick up vulnerable women. Okay, this is, again, one of your villains of this movie. It was such a scene that fell so flat, and they were trying to go with some kind of impact to it. I didn't care at all. Then we get an extremely long and terrible musical number. A song that just goes on and on and on. And yes, you're trying to recapture some of the mystique of the first one. Does not work at all. It just keeps going on and on and on. And as that's happening, Astrid is trying to get the book of the underworld to find a way to stop the wedding. So she opens up a chalk outline and, oh no, here comes a sandworm. Dolores is there randomly. And she's like, I'm going to kill Beetlejuice. And then the sandworm just eats Dolores and Rory and falls into the pit. That's how we lose our villains, I guess. I guess Rory's a villain now. I don't really care. I don't think what he did was that terrible to put him on a villain level where he should have been eaten by a sandworm and died. That's a little bit much. He's a scumbag, but come on. Not that bad. But then, oh no. We still have the problem here where Lydia agreed to marry Beetlejuice. So that's the final confrontation is, oh, what's going to happen with Lydia? Is she going to be stuck with this guy forever? But it's okay, though, because Astrid reveals that Beetlejuice somehow violated the rules of the handbook and his own contract. So Lydia doesn't have to marry him. And then Beetlejuice, they say his name a couple times, and he inflates like a balloon and blows up. That was our final confrontation, people. Astrid saved the day by memorizing this entire book of the terms of service and defeated Beetlejuice legally. Okay. Then we cut to Lydia giving her final farewell performance for her TV show. She says, I spent all these years talking with the dead. I'm going to spend the rest of my time living and hanging out with the people that I love most. We get a very nice montage of Lydia and Astrid. Earlier on, she was talking about, Astrid was saying how her father wanted to go around the world and check out the creepiest places like Dracula's castle and etc., etc. All stuff that could have been explained of why she was not liked in the opening of her scene. You didn't have to make her a climate activist. You could have just made her a weird goth girl, and all the preppy blonde women don't like her for that reason. But then it shows Lydia and Astrid going off and doing all these things, checking out all these weird places, and it just kind of shows the rest of Lydia's life with Astrid, how Astrid finds a man at the castle, they get married, they give birth to a baby, but oh no, it turns out to be Beetlejuice. A little Beetlejuice baby. And then Lydia wakes up from a dream and Beetlejuice is sleeping next to her. And then she wakes up again and there's no one in the bed next to her. And then we just cut to black. That's the movie. That's Beetlejuice 2. It is an absolute mess of a script. Have no idea. $100 million budget is what I'm looking at here. It's probably going to get around, I don't know, 3-4 at this rate. I'm very curious of how high the marketing budget is. I know the Little Mermaid was over $140 million, so I wouldn't be surprised if this cleared that easily. Easily. So I think it's going to make a little bit of money. It is nostalgia bait at its absolute finest. Like I said in the beginning of this, the two positive things, the two positive takeaways were Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. He did fantastic job. Zero complaints about him whatsoever. The look, the style, the feel of it. It felt like, honestly, this movie came out a year after the original. It might be one of the most accurate looking sequels we've ever seen. I cannot stress how much it looked pretty. But that's as far as my compliments go with this movie. It doesn't deliver at all. The characters all fall flat. The villain's terrible, forgettable in every possible way. But in the end, what do you guys think about that?
You're out there chasing